Hello, this is Dread from Epic Builds. In today's video topic, we're going to be showcasing another build. It's going to be a Sorcerer build this time around. I had tried to make an Ignite Sorcerer work because I wanted to try Ignite out. I did Ignite Volcanic Orb, but the build, as soon as I got to Empowered Monos, fell through because turns out if you try to do your damage on a delay on a class that's very squishy, you die too much. The damage was there, but the survivability was not. So instead, I decided to try Meteor. Now, Meteor in the past has not been like an S tier skill for a while. It's like a pretty okay skill, or it was. Now it's a lot better considering this patch giving us a lot of mana regen options. So what I'm doing is I'm utilizing a node that's giving us 45% of the mana cost refunded over 3 seconds. So pretty much what that means is half of the mana cost is pretty much refunded over 6 seconds. 3 seconds. So we are running 126 mana costs on our Meteor, I believe. But so that gives us like 60 mana back. So if we can manage to gain 60 mana within those 3 seconds as well, we would get about the whole mana cost of Meteor back. And thanks to the mana regen changes, we can do just that. So we have about 20 mana regen per second. So pretty much I'm able to press the Meteor button every 3 seconds for free. And the reason why this is so strong is because it works really well at the preparation node, which gives us 200% increased spell damage with a spell if we have not cast a spell recently. So like every 3 seconds pretty much. So it actually even gives us a little timer on our bar to whenever we can actually push the button as well. So one issue with it though is if you cast Meteor twice in a very short amount of time, it will not give you the full mana refunded. Now that's completely fine because we can use focus. Well, normally you don't technically need to use focus for this build for most content, but what I found is for bosses, it's actually easier to double tap the Meteor key and then focus real quick, and then we'll be back at full mana very quickly, and then do it again. And usually 4 barrages of meteors is enough to kill most empowered bosses. Now, I'm also critting for like 12k in empowered monos per meteor. We have about, I think it's like 6 meteors. I think it's like either 5 or 6 meteors. The main reason why I'm actually playing Meteor is because I'm using this as a test, kind of like a test, because Meteor is getting a new set item next patch that's giving it 1 lightning damage per intelligence as the set bonus, and that's going to be absolutely nuts with the Stardust node that gives you 150% more damage with non-fire damage. The reason why I wanted to make this version, the fire version, is so that I had a control so that I knew what fire Meteor was like before the set comes out, so I can test it after using the set. And the new animation's sick as well. Now, other things as well, we're just doing normal Sorcerer things. This build's actually surprisingly cheap considering. I had a very easy time gearing it. It just took about like 5 minutes to gear it because, like I said, I stripped the character and went and farmed on a different build for a bit, then came back to it when I was ready. And it's pretty much ready to go. Like with really cheap gear, you can do a lot of things to improve the build. You can get up to 300 mana with like an Orion's Eye and some investment. You could run a Fractured Crown for more spell crit and like to run the mana stuff because like the mana damage taken stuff, you can run that. Like there's a lot of things you can do with this build to improve it more, but I'm going to leave that to you guys. As I said, the reason why I leave characters at such low level and don't finish them 100% is mainly because I want you guys to have fun, because I believe most of the fun in the game is creating builds and finishing them and fine-tuning them. Now, I don't want to steal the fun away from you guys. You guys deserve to have fun too. And that's why I kind of like leave builds off in kind of like an unfinished state so that you guys can have fun with finishing it. As like I said, that's the most fun for the game, at least for me anyways. With that being said, let's get into the game, shall we? All right, Here we are in game with the build Ignite Bad MK. This was supposed to be a joke name, but it turned out to be real because Ignite's terrible, at least from my experience so far. But let's get into skills, shall we? So we have Meteor here. So you take 1 point travel into Force of Impact. The stun chance is pretty cool because you hit a lot with the meteors anyways, so you tend to stun lock a lot of enemies. 3 points into Aftermath. So after you cast Meteor, you recover a portion of mana spent over the last 3 seconds. Now, you can only recover the mana once, and like if you cast another Meteor within those 3 seconds, you lose that rest of that portion of mana recovered. So if I press the button here, you'll see my mana will go up a significant margin considering, and you can see when it stops as well. Like right there, that's when it stops, and that's my normal mana regen. So this allows us to pretty much sustain Meteor forever because we have a little bit of mana regen on our stuff. So we're at like 20 mana regen, so I can technically, for every 3 seconds, I can cast Meteor as much as I want. Then we take 3 points into Rapid Descent for fall speed for travel, 1 point into Twin Meteors, so now we do 2 Meteors, and it gives us more mana cost, which like I said is fixed by using Aftermath. 3 points into Meteor Showers, so we get plus 3 Meteors, so we're at 4 Meteors, 1 point travel into Rapid Impacts, and then 1 point into Rain of Fire, so that we have about 5-6 meteors per cast, which is insanely strong as it takes all the damage and multiplies it by 6 if you get lucky enough with the crits, because as you can tell, it's a little bit of a kind of like a cluster, but like it's random, right? Then we take 4 points of Extinction. This is how we get the base crit for our skill, so we can use an Oracle Staff. It also gives us a chance to get a large meteor, which gives us 100% increased area. That's actually how we deal with our area. So you see the big ones there, and we have the little small ones. The little small ones don't do that much area, but the big ones do a lot of area. So like that pretty much makes your area as consistent as possible. Normally this node's pretty bad, but since we're chucking out like 1, 2, 5, 6 meteors per cast, it is guaranteed to at least go off once, which means you at least get a little bit of area, right? Which is insanely strong. Like I said, it's just extra with the base crit, right? I would be grabbing this anyways for the base crit. Now, 1 point travel into Crushing Force for more damage, and then 3 points into Infernal Descent. Now, if you had plus 2 Meteor, I would take an extra point into Infernal Descent as well. It's another thing as well. It's very strong. This is Stardust. This is the node that would work really well with the new set item when it comes out. This is what we're testing versus, right? Once we get the actual staff and all that. But yeah, it allows us to cast Meteor forever. We have a decent amount of clear considering, and we get to cast Meteors every 3 seconds, so which is very consistent. Now we are running Focus. The only reason I'm running Focus is so that when I accidentally mess up and double cast and I'm out of mana, right? And another reason why I'm running Focus is if pretend the dummy is a boss, right? I can spam the button, hold it up, and then do it again, which allows us to do a lot of damage versus bosses burst wise, right? And by the time Focus is up, we can do it again. This is very good against like Orbis because we can go through, burst all our damage down, and then walk away and go do something else while we wait Focus to get done, right? Which is very strong. So it's the stereotypical Focus setup with the null profusion and null infusion, so that when we're at negative mana, we gain 40% of our mana instantly once we use it. Then we also use the burst as well, so we only have to hold Focus for like a second or so, and we're back at full mana. This is actually very strong as well with our mana regen. As you can tell, we get 40 mana regen per second instead of 20. Insanely strong. Now we're running Flame Ward as well, your stereotypical Flame Ward setup. We are running 2 points into Infusion just for more fire damage. Then Teleport, the stereotypical Teleport setup. There's nothing like special here. It's just your usual resistance capping shenanigans, right? As long as with increased damage. And then we have Meteor as well. Meteor is here for one. It's kind of like our decoy because we don't have decoy, sadly. That would be insane. But it's kind of like our decoy. And it also triggers this node as well Dragon Mage from the top of the tree, which allows us to get 100% increased damage when we cast it. Also puts things in a very convenient, nice little spot for Meteor to overlap on. So it's really good for arena, really good for when you're like doing those beacons and you can suck things into the center and just like kill a beacon that way very quickly. That's pretty much it for the skills. Here we are with the passives here. We take 5 points into Elementalist for increased fire damage. I believe you'd probably want to go Scholar instead so you can get to the 300 mana threshold easier than fill out Scholar later on. 10 points into Preparation. This is actually one of the strongest things about this build is since we only cast every 3 seconds, this 200% increased spell damage is always up for 10 points. Insanely strong. 5 points into Mage Flurry for cast speed because we do get reduced cast speed while using Meteor. So we want a little bit of cast speed to make up for that. And then after that, we take 6 points into Spellblade for Elemental Affinity to cap our Elires while also giving us damage. Then, of course, we have Sorcerer here. 8 points into Calculated Destruction for Spell Crit. 8 points into Brainstorm for increased spell damage and mana regen, which is important for this build as we're building into mana regen. 5 points into Arcane Momentum, so that when we teleport, we actually get more cast speed with Meteor, which makes it almost instant. Then 1 point travel into Pyromancer, 5 points into Afterglow, so that we get more, more damage. Since it's 4 seconds, it's always up, which is really nice. Afterglow is always up for us since it's up every 4 seconds instead of 3, which is insanely strong for us. It's just another 50% damage. 8 points into Crackling Precision for crit chance, 5 points into Arcane Obliteration for crit multi. You can mess around with these nodes later on when you have better crit. Then 8 points into Elemental Ascendance for increased damage, increased stun, which actually works for our Meteors, which is really cool. So our Meteors are stunning a lot more than often, especially with the node inside of its skill tree as well. Then also as well giving us Eliras. 5 points into Spellslinger for the adaptive spell damage, because if you did not know, Meteor gets your spell damage times 6, so you want as much flat spell damage as possible to benefit from Meteor and increase mana regen. 4 points into Recollection for the cooldown recovery speed, so that Teleport and Black Hole and Focus are all on lower cooldowns, so that you can spam them more often. Getting at like 10 seconds here for Focus is really strong. Also getting cooldown on the Helm would probably be a good idea instead of that spell crit. I just thought of that. Probably a good idea. And then take 5 points into Archmage for tripled. We have over 200 mana. We do not have over 200 mana. Like I said, for the last few points, we're level 84. So for the last like 10, 15 points would be into Wisdom and into Mana Shell, or as well in the base tree, Scholar as well, so that we can actually get to 300 mana, so that our idols work as well, and our spell crit works as well here. So you want to get to 300 mana as quickly as possible. I just haven't had the time to do so right now, because like I said, I had to respec this build. And that's pretty much it for the passives today. Now we're going to talk about gearing here. So for idols, you want to unlock the last idol slot. Unlike me, don't be lazy like I am. Unlock the last idol slot. I'm a very busy person though. But get 4 fire damage idols. That's all you need. Go to 300 mana. For the helmet, you probably want either the fire damage base or the increased mana base. Probably the increased mana base so you can get up to 300 mana easier. Spell crit, vitality, health, and endurance. You do want to be endurance capped with this build. I am not currently endurance capped. You probably want to be endurance capped with this build. Oracle Staff. You want to run an Oracle Staff because it gives you the most amount of flat. Now, you can get away technically with running a Sorcery Staff, but I don't think it's worth the 25 extra flat. You want crit multi, spell, or fire damage, as that's the best mod for you. You don't really care about cast speed because you're not casting that often, only like every 3 seconds, so cast speed doesn't really matter for you. Then chill and slow and hit, so that when you hit a pack And if they do survive the Meteor Apocalypse, they'll just be chilled and slow as well, so that they can't reach you. Now, for the chest, we run the adaptive spell damage chest, as like I said, 6 times the amount. It's insane. That's like about like 45 flat on your Meteor. It's insane. +2 to Meteor, spell crit with 300 plus mana, health, and then dodge. I'm trying to run dodge potion on this build for monoliths. You want dodge percentage here as well on the amulet. Crit, spell crit multi, dodge, and then frailty. For the rings, I'm running one gold ring to keep us capped on Ellie res. But I don't think you need this. I mean, you might need it for yeah, you'll need it for lightning res, I guess. But yeah, you'll have to like mess around with the reses and all that a little bit. I'm gonna link a planner that's a finished build planner so that you guys don't have to like worry about like trying to copy whatever I have. We have mana regen. You can get way more mana regen than this on all these slots. So at 20 is like the least. Increased spell damage, and then HP. You don't want that dodge. Then for the belt, increased mana regen, dodge, and then hybrid health if you have the chance. The other ring, I'm running a necrotic res ring, actually. I'm missing a little bit of necrotic res on my amulet, so that's why I'm not capped. But it's okay, because ivory rings are insanely strong. You want mana regen, spell damage, probably HP, or res. The gloves, cast speed, crit chance, health, and then I think frailty probably. Probably frailty. You'd probably want frailty here instead of on the amulet, and then run dodge and dodge percentage here, or dodge percentage and HP here. Then for the boots, we have movement speed, HP, and dodge, and probably vitality as well if you can get the chance to get so. Like I said, I'm showing this off with budget gear to show you that it's not that hard to get this set up properly, right? Like, it's not that hard to get it set up properly, so you guys can like get to it in an achievable manner. This is a very cheap way of setting up Meteor. So don't feel like, oh my god, I need like insane gear. No, my gear's ass. My gear's trash, right? Like, you can get way better gear, right? Scrying Eye, crit multi. You want crit multi instead of spell crit there. Mana regen, HP. No, you want like double res there, I believe. Like I said, I'll be linking the finished build planner in the description. And that's pretty much it for the gearing. With that being said, thank you all for watching, and have a wonderful rest of your day wherever you're at, and bye.